Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. So today we are going to discuss yet another very important topic related to Azure file share, and that is we are going to learn how to mount SMB Azure file share on Windows server. So let's see the steps and the process that we are going to follow for the same. So first of all, Azure Files is a Microsoft easy to use cloud system. Azure File shares can be seamlessly used in Windows and Windows Server. Ensure port 445 is open because the SMB protocol requires TCP port 445 to be open. Connections will fail if port 445 is blocked. So first of all, always remember for mounting the file share and then accessing it via Windows Server, you must ensure that port 445 is open. A storage account key is an administrator key for the storage account, including administrator permissions to all files and folders within file share that you are going to access, and for all the file shares and other resources contained within your storage account. So it is a administrator permission provider, the storage account key. So a common pattern for lifting and shifting line of business application that expect an SMB file share to Azure is to use an Azure file share as an alternative for running a dedicated Windows server in Azure VM. One important consideration for successfully migrating line of business application to use an Azure file share is that many applications run under the context of a dedicated service account with limited system permissions rather than VM's administrative account. Therefore, you must ensure that you save the credentials for Azure file share from the context of a service account rather than your administrative account. So you must remember that you should save the credentials from your service account but not as an administrator. Okay, so what happens is that you will be able to access the Azure file share from your Windows server post mounting it. Okay, now suppose you are in a different region and your file share is in a different region, right? And you're trying to access. So Azure file share will become, it's like a file server methodology that will help you to access your data on the cloud through your virtual machine, okay, without any extensive efforts. So let's see the steps that we need to follow to mount Azure file share on a Windows server. So first of all, we will go to the storage account, and under the data storage tab, we will find file shares. In file shares, we will select the file share that we want to mount on the storage account, on the VM. So if you click on that particular file share, you will get an option to connect. Now, if you click on the connect option on the right hand side, you will be prompted to enter a drive letter which you wish to be named. Your file share would be named in the Azure in the VM in the virtual machine. So suppose you select Z. So your file share will have Z drive, will be known as a Z drive in the virtual machine in the Windows server. So it will be something like this. You would select, so now we will be authentication via storage account key as I told you in the earlier slide. So we'll select storage account key and then we would need to provide the drive letter. So over here, suppose in the snippet, it has been provided as Z, right? So Z has been provided, and now in the virtual machine in the Windows server, the file share will be mounted as a Z drive. Okay, so you need to run this particular script into the PowerShell of that particular Windows server for mounting the Azure file share. Okay, now let's see what the script is doing. The script first of all tests the port connectivity at 445. Okay, if it will succeed, then only the script utilizes the storage account key to mount the file share. Okay, if 445 port is not open, then it will reflect the message that it is blocked. Okay, so that was the end of the slide. Now we'll go to the portal and try to implement this particular procedure that was told to you. Okay, so let's go into the storage accounts. Okay, this is our storage account, and over here we have a file share. So the name of the file share is FileSync1. Now let's create another file share. We will name it as mount. Okay, paste. Okay, since we are mounting it, so we'll review. Okay, validation is passed, but let's disable the backup because it isn't necessary since it's a test scenario. So we have successfully created a file share. Now as you can see, we are getting a connect option, right? Now we want to authenticate via storage account key, right? I have selected the drive letter Z. Let me select a different drive letter just for the sake. You are getting all the drives letter. Now be sure about this. This is one important thing. In the Windows server, in the virtual machine that you're going to mount the file share, the drive letter shouldn't coincide with the drive letter which is already there. So suppose there is C drive or there is D drive, then you can't mount, then you will get an error because that drive is already there. So please ensure that you select a drive letter which hasn't been used yet. So let's suppose we'll select P. Okay, and we are authenticating via storage account key. This is our Windows VM, so we have selected Windows. You can select Linux or Mac OS, and it has different process. But right now we are discussing about Windows, so we'll select Windows and then we'll click on Show Script. Okay, now this is the script, okay, that we would be running on that Windows server. Okay, so let me create a duplicate tab and access my Windows server on which I will be mounting the file share. So I'll go into virtual machines and select this particular server and I'll switch it on. It is already on, it is running. So what we'll do, we'll copy the IP address and RDP into the server. Put the name, IP address of the server and connect. So I have already saved my credential, so it won't prompt me for entering the password. So we are into the server. Okay. Now we'll open the partial of the server, but first of all, let's copy the script. Okay. So here is our script and we'll copy it to the clipboard. And now we'll open partial. Okay. Let me open it as an administrator for now. But remember, when you are mounting and saving the credential, you should try to save it via the service account. Okay. So now I'll just paste the script over here. First of all, it is testing the port 445 connectivity. It has passed. Since it didn't get an error, okay, the credential has been added and the share has been mounted as drive P, right? Now if I open my file explorer, I'll be able to see the mounted drive, okay, as M drive. Okay, I'll click inside it, sorry, P drive. So here you go, it is the P drive, right? Now let's check whether we can see or access the data that is in the drive on the file share. Is it reflecting or not, right? So for the sake of testing, let me copy something inside the drive. So I'm copying these two files. Okay, I'm pasting it over here. So I'll create a new text document, okay, and I'll input something in it, okay, and then I'll save it so that it will have some size. It's of 1 KB, right? I'll create another one, alpha, okay, I'll put something in it as well. and then save it. It has been saved. Now both these documents are of 1 KB each. Now let's see on them on the file share. Okay, this is a file share. We are going to browse it now. So as you can see, the documents are, the file is already here, right? And it is showing the precise size of the data, right? Alpha.txt and new text document.txt. So this is how the mounting of the file share works. We'll be able to access this particular file share through your Windows server, and at the same time all the data inside it would be secure on the cloud storage, right? So you will get a copy of your data on the cloud storage as well. So I hope this lab was helpful for you guys, and please keep watching and subscribe and like the videos, and I'll keep posting the helpful content for you. Jai Hind.